All right, good morning, everybody. Today is you're watching some live trading from Thursday, October 23rd. And actually, I have a chart up of the Dow E-mini futures. I thought I would show you this market today, trade some of these contracts. Last few times, I think we showed you crude oil. Same exact methodology, same indicators, same system. That's one of the great things about the UMT. You learn it on one market, and you can use it across multiple markets and multiple time frames. So in this case, I'll be doing some active trading here of the Dow E-mini, and I'll also walk you through why I'm taking the setups that I'm taking and see as live trading progresses here. So a couple things. You can see here, if you've watched any other videos, you know the solid trend line that is red and then hooks up right here to blue. The solid one, not the dashed one, the solid one. We call that, as I just said, our trend lines. This indicator that's running across is called our directional indicator. See how it's red and then right here it hooks to green. Normally, this indicator is not so tied into the trend lines. That means that we're a bit sideways right now, which is true. But what I'm basically looking for is just for my system to have everything line up, and when that happens, I know the odds are in my favor. And in this case, what I'm looking for is I do need these candles to come back down and touch something, meaning my trend line basically, before I can go ahead and treat it as a setup candle. And a setup candle would just be a green candle. So you can see here I came very close. You notice how it almost touched. But I really do need this to come down and touch, and then I can go ahead and take my setup and talk to you about the stops and the targets. In the meantime, I just need to let this kind of do what it needs to do. We don't just randomly jump in and jump out of the market. I mean, there's a very structured, disciplined approach. And when everything lines up, I know the odds are in my favor. So I'll pause the video until we see a setup starting to happen. The market really just opened as far as on the U.S. Stock Exchange. This is exchange time here, 8:30, right about here. So that's 9:30 Eastern time. So as you know, that's when the stocks are officially open and the pre-opening is over. Okay, so we do have a setup candle now. You can see the price action came up, pulled back down, did definitely touch my trend lines and gave me this green setup candle right here. And that becomes my my setup. And actually, I did go long in the market, and my long is at, in this case, 85.82. I've got my stop down here, so I need to adjust my stop in the system. It's 85.12, so I need to bring this down some to go ahead and accommodate this trade. Let's bring that down. All right, so we're at 85.12, and I have my target way up here. It's 86. In this case, again, looking at the system, it calculates our target for us, 86.65. I'm going to bring that way up. Now, the market is obviously pulling back against me so far, so we're going to need to get some sort of turn back around here in the price action. Otherwise, we're going to have a stop out and just need to look for our next setup, which obviously sometimes happens. So we'll just have to see how this one goes. I'll pause the video while the price action is going up and down. If it gets stopped out, we'll restart and look for our next setup, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we had our first trade, as you saw here, did come back down to our directional indicator, pop back up. For a little while there, we were actually above water, but then ultimately it did fade back down and took us out at our stop. So we took on our first trade. We did take a loss. Now, trade number 2, however, has worked out very nicely, as you can see. All that we need, as we've talked about, is first your solid trend lines need to hook, which they do on this bar right here. The candle has to be red on a setup candle to go short, and our directional indicator at that time, when these trend lines hook, has to be red and down. So all you're trying to do really is line up these three things that have to happen, and what we mean by that is right when the trend lines hook, you need to have your directional indicator, that's this one here, and your candle needs to be red. That's a setup candle. We take the breakout below this. In this case, we went short at 84.98. And the cool thing was our target, as you can see here, short target 2 is 84.57. So we made 41 points. We had 1 point of slippage on our entry. So we made 40 points on this entry. And it tells us what our stop should be when we entered. And of course, it also gives us our target. So on that one, we are obviously all set. And let me just kind of highlight there. So that brings us, obviously, here's trade 1, trade 2. So now we're looking, of course, for another setup. If we get a retracement back into the trend lines, we might have a third trade. At this point, we're 1-1, so we, per our trading plan, we keep on going because obviously we want to finish the day positive. Okay, so right now we do have a re-entry setup. This is our candle right here. The low of that candle is 84.27. I'm going to set my stop at 84.18, and we'll place a sell stop into the market. The reason we do that is we take the low of that candle, in this case 84.27, and we have, in this case, what we call an incremental. That tells us how far down below that low we should go ahead and place that stop. So that tells us 84.18. And if I trigger, I'll know I'll have my target set up in here, and I'll have my original stop up here. Of course, I'll adjust that if the trade enters and goes my way. We have some money management that we do. Right now, we're not in the market, as you can see, because we haven't triggered. 84.18 is right about, let's see, right about here. So the market's just kind of playing up and down for the moment. We just need to kind of sit back and wait and see if it triggers. I'll pause the video, and if the trade should trigger, we'll go ahead and set up our stop and our target. Okay, we do have a potential buy setup developing here. You can see our trend line's hooked up down below, but at that time our directional was still red. So when that happens, we need to let it kind of come up and then come back down and touch, like it is right now, our directional indicator. And all we need at this point is a green candle, and we'll take a breakout above the high of that candle to go ahead and go long. So we're pretty close on a setup. I'm going to sort of start getting ready for the potential trade, based upon where the price action is right now. Looks like we're going to get a setup candle right here. We just take the high of that candle, which in this case is 85.26, add on our what we call our incremental, and it's going to end up being 85.36. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in the market. So now we're all set with our buy stop. At this point, we just need to wait and see if it triggers. If it triggers, great. If not, we just kind of move on to the next setup. So you can see here that we had that short setup in. You notice how our trigger did not put us into the market, and that's great. It was a good filter, kept us out of the move, and we didn't end up going short, which worked out to our benefit. So that's why we go ahead and we take these breakouts once we have a setup bar. Okay, so you can see that I have gotten long the market. We were able to bring our entry down a little bit because when we pull back here and this directional turned red and then it flipped back to green, we call that a wiggle entry. Of course, we'll teach you that. And we were able to take the breakout above this candle instead. Now I've got my target way up here, the solid white dot, and that's actually 85.90. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my limit order up a little bit. The system automatically, the way the broker I use and the software I use, will place a stop and a limit in the market. But I'll go ahead and adjust that once I have the exact numbers that our system tells us. It also says that our stop should be at 84.66, so I need to bring this down just a little bit. And we'll have our stop in place. Now right now I'm underwater. That's not uncommon. Some trades just shoot right your way, and some are going to take some heat and bounce around. It's possible even that I could stop out. We'll just have to see. The thing about when we trade this, we just stay very structured and calm. We just have our setup. If we stop out, we take the next setup. If we go to target, depending upon our trading plan, we either are done or we take the next setup. Okay, so you can see things are working out for us at this point. Market's steadily heading higher. Got two contracts in. I might go ahead at this point, and since I came pretty close and exit out of one of those at about 45 points of profit. Remember my target was, in this case, I was at 85.90. I got up to, what did we get? We got 85.82. I'm also going to raise my stop to 85, in this case, set that at break even. So I'm going to set the stop at break even on my remaining because I came very close to my full target. And actually I'm going to raise this up so I take a profit no matter what, because when we're within what we call our incremental range, we always take a profit. So I've already exited for 45 points. I've got my stop in that's going to guarantee me at this point 10 points. I'm going to raise it up even a little more and guarantee myself 15 points of profit, and then I'm just going to let this trade do what it needs to do. It's either going to come back down and take me out with 15 more points, or it's going to run back up and hit my 85.90 target. Alright, so that one went ahead and came back down and took me out at my profit stop. So I was able to pick up, in that case, another 15 points. So overall, I picked up 60 points on this trade. That's my second winner. As you remember, I had this short here, and I had this long that was a loser. So I had a loser and then two consecutive winners. That puts me up Pretty nice amount on the day, and per my money management rules, I'm going to go ahead and stop for the session with 2 wins and a positive result. Overall on the day, it was up about, well, we'll go ahead and calculate that real quick.